Good morning, Stephen.
Right, we've got the countdown clock going, and we are live today on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and on Facebook again, and on the website. It's Thursday here, live. It's 10 o'clock. If you're listening on Royston Radio, welcome. This is Blabbing for Britain, and we'll do a countdown at the beginning so that we know that we're connected everywhere. By the time the countdown clock is finished. You can't see it, I know, but at the moment it's reading 24 seconds. And once that's done, then we shall appear on screen. We do know. Oh, let's wait for that to finish. You there? Okay,
Hello.
we're there. Right, okay, so it's all gone. Official good morning, John.
Good
And
morning, Stephen.
this is welcome to the show, and this is Blabbing for Britain, episode 399. So this is next to the 400th one. So next week is going to be a very special show indeed. And looking forward to it. So 399.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Peter's going to have a shock today.
Why is Peter going to have a shock? He's going to have a shock.
Well, he was in 41 degrees in Tenerife because it was really hot. And there's snow on the ground in Aberdeen when he gets off the plane. So I think he's going to have a bit of a shock.
That's it. The thing is that normally this time of year in the UK it would be 9 degrees. That's the average temperature for this time in December, but we're doing 2 degrees at the moment, which we're not built for. We're expected to be cold, but not this early.
Well, we had a very heavy frost overnight. You know,
Yeah.
frozen windscreens, all the grass is white. I feared actually we were going to get it the night before. And I went and dug up all my chrysanths that need to be sheltered over winter. And I was still digging them up when it was dark by torchlight, because I'd planned to do it on Monday, but circumstances changes, you know. So
That's true.
I didn't get to do it on Monday.
Right.
But they're all safely in the garage, and now I'll be preparing them ready for overwintering. And then in the end of January, early February, we'll wake them up and hope that we get some decent cuttings off them for next year.
All right. Okay. Now, the major thing that's been going on, the reason that we weren't here last week was down to me. There is, well, basically a bug which is going around the UK at the moment, and it's decimating people. Basically, people are ill, and it's not something. It's not a cold. It's not COVID, which is good news, but it is a virus. And once you've got it, you know you've got it. Because I last week I was streaming and I couldn't. I was coughing like mad. And the thing is that it lasts for about 7 to 10 days. Now, today is day 11. So I woke up and I thought, it's gone. And it felt, the thing is, normally when you feel crook, you can't sleep at night. But with this particular virus, it says, okay, you're going to sleep, I'll go to sleep too. So you don't get any trouble at all during the night. It's only when you wake up the following morning that it starts up again. So if I start coughing, then it's because it is still with me, but it's affecting millions of people throughout the UK, and all we've got to do is live with
I've
it.
still got the tail end of it now, but I'm in week 3, not day 11.
Yeah, it's a long. Yeah, it just seems to drag on and on and on, and I'm physically you feel okay, but your nose and your throat suffer the worst of it. So if you're suffering at the moment, the only best advice we can give is stay warm, and eventually it will go. Hopefully, on show 400 next week, both John and I will be back to normal, whatever normal is. But yeah, so we do empathise. We've been through it. Angelica's got it at the moment. She's a week behind me, and it's basically yeah, right. Okay, now in the news today, John, you're not going to believe this, but in the news today are pylons, and there is beginning today the start of a row because the Labour spokesman is going to give a speech today about connecting farms throughout the UK to the national grid. Now, this has been something which has been, if you've got a farm and you're out in the wilds, you haven't got much chance of being connected to the national grid, which means you've got to have your own generators. Labour today are going to say that they're going to prioritise connecting farms to the national grid, which has got to be good for the country as a whole, because if they've got access to power and they don't have to mess about with generators, then it's got to be to the common good. So I can understand the logic behind that. Kemi Badenoch, on the other hand, who is Conservative, is saying that all the grid should be pushed off into the North Sea, and we should forget about the farmers. So that's the latest battle that's going to take place as we in the run up to the next general election. I mean, I love pylons. I think they're not a blot on the landscape. They are part of our modern world.
And
I mean,
isn't there a scheme currently being introduced whereby if you're in the vicinity of a pylon, you can get an electrical rebate?
could well be, but pylons have made us what we are today, really. But driving down through France, they've got the most. They have pylon designers who create works of art out of the pylons. I mean, ours is just a tower of steel, but their pylons are just works of art. And in East Anglia at the moment, there's a new range of pylons which are pretty close to the French ones. So Pylon Wars is about to start. Okay. Are you still on Twitter, John?
I hardly ever go there, but I am still on Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter as well. The audience is not what it used to be, but there is, as we know, Elon Musk owns Twitter, and he tells us every day he owns Twitter. And there is a problem. I'm just going to read a little bit here. Insofar as what's happening and what's that is that advertisers are pulling their adverts away from him. And he said yesterday, if someone's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, you can go and he used the word. He used the word that we can't possibly mention on Blabbing for Britain. And he told all his advertising people to actually just go and yourself. And that's, we know that as a business owner, the last thing you do is to actually tell people who hitherto have been supporting you is to go and do a runner. And we're watching something implode. Yeah, it is imploding. I mean, it is that when Facebook started Threads or Instagram started Threads, everybody said, "Oh yeah, right, okay, we're going to stay on Twitter." But now Threads is taking off, and it is the place to be. And I mean, it's an amazing, it's an amazing positive experience because all the right wingers are on Twitter, X, sorry, and all the normal people are actually on Threads. And you can go onto Threads, and I'm following the most wonderful photographers. So we're getting photographs from all around the world, and we're getting discussions which are positive, and support, surprisingly, support for the Labour Party and the Democrats. So it's a wonderful place to be. But I mean, to actually shoot yourself in the foot, John, you don't tell advertisers to go and do a runner, do you?
Yes. Well, he's a strange man, isn't he?
Well, he's a talented man, has to be said, but he's he's his own man, and he now treats Twitter X. Sorry, yeah. How could you call a product X? Yeah, X
It
marks the
makes you
spot.
wonder why. That was supposed to be humour. Makes you wonder why. Never
Oh
mind.
right, okay, yeah, yeah. Gets lost. Gets lost.
You were
Bloody hell.
having some Zeds then.
Yeah, I had
XYZ.
some Zeds this morning. I couldn't wake up this morning. I was zonked out. I didn't hear the alarm, which is unusual. I normally wake up 2 minutes before the alarm, so I can actually listen to it. Um, but today I just slept through it, and fortunately, Angelica woke me up and said, "Hang on, get up." So I did. Yeah.
Well, I woke up at about 5:10 and
Ah,
barely got any sleep till I got up at 8:10.
yeah. 10 past
So
five.
many things whizzing round. Once they start whizzing round, it's impossible to put them down, isn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I get nights like that too, where you sort of go off from one random thought to another. You're sort of semi awake, semi asleep, and you're
All I know
restless.
is I had some really good ideas and thoughts. Can I remember most of them? No.
No, that's why you need a pad at the side of the bed, so they say, and you actually write things down in the middle of the night, so you can wake up in the morning and you read it and think, "Who
What
said
the hell
that?
was
That's a
that?
balmy idea."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy
The,
stuff,
the,
isn't it?
the thing is, if you do wake up and you write things down, you're actually awake then. Yeah. Whereas dozing and thinking about it, you're not actually moving. So you can.
It's quite interesting. I mean, I bought this fancy watch, that does it's a Chinese copy thing,
Yeah.
and you can buy it with about 25 different names. But that monitors your sleep, and it's never the same 2 nights running, and you can see where you're awake, where you're in deep sleep, and where you're sort of stuck in the middle on the
Yep.
graph that appears on your phone.
Yep. Uh, Fitbit does that too. Fitbit is very, very useful because Fitbit actually measures. One of the things about wearing a Fitbit at night is that it measures. I'm just going to bring it up. It measures your breathing rate, your heart rate, your skin temperature, your oxygen saturation, and resting heart rate. And basically, it gives you a nice little. I don't know whether you can see it. Gives you no, you can't see it. It gives you a nice little graph.
All right. Well,
Okay.
this one doesn't do breaths per minute, but it does most of the other things.
Yeah.
Heartbeat and
And the thing is, over the past 10 days, it measures 5 things, and over the past 10 days, my breathing rate, my oxygen saturation, and my resting heart rate have all been outside of the range that I normally am, which tells you not that you knew already, but you actually got a cold or you've got an infection. The other thing about having an infection is that, as far as I'm concerned, I twice a day I have to take my blood sugar level, and doing that. I mean, I gave up last week. I've got to be honest. I knew that the infection would affect my readings. The readings were going to be bad, not ultra bad, but bad. So for a couple of days last week, I just didn't measure it. I didn't prick myself with a pin to find out, because when I did, it was well. Oh, wait a minute. We have a surprise visitor. May I? I'm going to introduce him. I don't know how to introduce him. Do we say the man from Tenerife, or
oh, I thought he was on a plane now.
do we say the man from Aberdeen?
Oh, he's back home by the look of it. We thought you were on a plane during this.
He's keeping his
Hello.
option.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, you're home then?
Yeah. I came home yesterday actually. And,
All right.
and
Because in your video, you said you'd be in an aeroplane during the broadcast.
did you play it at the beginning?
Well, I think we
No, we
watched
didn't
it
play the
all.
video. No,
Oh, you
no.
might have played it. You see,
We-
we
we-
do things for the channel, and this is what happens.
Yeah, we can't download. It's difficult to download it from Messenger.
Ah, right. Didn't know that. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the best
Yeah,
way
for-
of finding it in the future?
A future, if you put it on your Facebook page,
Then we can
just mark
save,
it.
you can save
Pens out.
anything from your Facebook page.
Oh, all right. Okay. No, I came back yesterday, and I got mixed up with the days. That's what it was, and I thought, I wonder if they mention me tomorrow, and I thought I'd come in. But Andy was wrong seeing me just now, so here I am.
John says you got snow.
Terrible. Yeah, snow. It's cold. The office is cold.
And you must feel even worse having come back from a quite warm climate.
Yeah, it wasn't too warm, you know. It was like some days it was a bit like some days it was overcast. But Sheila loved it at that time of year. She loved it, but I've never done. I mean, I was doing over 15K steps a day, and my legs and that are really sore. No, they were sore. And I hired a car, and
And couldn't park.
Parking was terrible, but I found a few hidey holes. It wasn't too bad. Once eventually, there was a big car park that I found that people go to. Then you walk down the hill a bit. And then yesterday, I went on to the day before, I went on to the TF1, which is basically a circuit right around Tenerife. But I took a wrong turning because the sat-nav was terrible. And it ended up beside Monk Tidy. And that area, it was nice, a lovely drive, but yeah, it was a very windy road, and it ended up in the northwest of the island. So I covered the whole island with my car.
Oh, we've been with you, whether we actually admitted being with you or not. We've been following you on Facebook.
Yeah. And I was that tired. I tried to get a scooter, but the guy says to me, where you living? Anyway, this is Panoramic Heights, which is right at top of the mountain. He says, you've no chance of getting one of these. He's had a lot of accidents, folk come. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people wanting scooters. You can hire the scooters, and I spoke to a couple that come off one. I says, as much as you're at, this is €4 to set to unload it. And he says, and then once you get the scooter, it's €1 or something when you offload it. What he says has been brilliant. And I says, Sheila, you'll have to come on the back with me. She says, no chance. And it was quite interesting to see the modes of transport. But I got a lot of car. But it was terrible, Sheila. Keep left, keep over, keep over, keep over. I says, why don't you have a little sleep and I'll take care of the driving? She says, there's no chance. Because if Steve should fell asleep, I would have went, ah! But yeah, it was, I needed the break, but however, I tried to cram in too much and was absolutely exhausted to the stage that I went to stay at night and she says, Sheila, come on, let's go back home just now. Let's go back to the room. And I went to the party till 2 in the morning. And she hadn't heard me singing for ages, you know. And I went up to her and she goes, wow, you've improved. And I'll tell you, it was nothing like going on a big stage and getting that whole audience where it was a massive stage, or a big stage, and the whole audience was with me. And can you imagine being a real singer like Rod Stewart or something going out and you've got all the crowds? Well, I had a mini version, people coming up, shaking my hand, and it was great, you know. I was king for a night. Well, 3 nights I did that, you know. So would I live there? No.
Why not?
Because once you look into it, my Al, he's just come back for Tenerife as a singer, and a good chat with a couple of the singers, not had a chat. So he says it's all work. It's not all that great money. and you're working maybe 6 days a week, they get €80 for an hour stint. So some of them do 3 hours in different places.
Yeah.
No, or 45-minute stints. Easy money. And they've no kit because they just turn up and put on their music into their system, which is great. But I would feel restricted on the island, you know? Like if I wanted to go to London or Birmingham or down to Edinburgh, I can do it. I don't think I would like that because I went to visit a village I was going to. All said, oh, it's a great place for you. But for some reason, I changed the dates. And I went to look at where I would be. And I had a look around and I spoke to a couple where 2 old ladies were sitting there. And I had a look around and I says to them, excuse me, have you got to be old to come here? And they both laughed and she says, no, but there is a lot of old people. I says, I wonder why there was 3 undertakers with one of them up in a mast with binoculars looking for dead people dying in golf courses and things, you know. And I'm so glad I didn't go to the place I was going to because it was a bit out from the action, as I would say.
Yeah.
And I'll say to her, no, I just couldn't do it. It was like being trapped in a village of the damned, not being able to get out. Oh, it would have done me nothing.
Peter, I heard from our former 4th Musketeer this morning.
So did I, with a grey face.
Sorry?
I'm going, carry on.
Well, he's just sent me a message and I thought I would read it.
Yeah.
Okay? It says, doing okay, thanks. Recovering from a diabetes-induced cerebral stroke about 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Symptoms like dizziness, nausea and sickness. Getting better. Launching my AI stock pick app next week and involved with a cryptocurrency launch on 7th of December.
Right.
Certainly exciting times. Just wanted to wish you all the very best for your 400th. An amazing achievement that you should be proud of. Hope you're all doing well. Are you fully retired yet? Or can't you stay away from all that tech? Cheers, Stephen.
So it is Stephen, because it's a grey face.
Sorry?
It's a grey head he's got.
Yes, just a grey head. Just the free thing.
I always worry about that. Well, all I can say is, John, you're the next one. You'll be getting diabetes shortly.
Why should I be getting diabetes?
You've got a sedentary lifestyle. You're sitting there and you're doing nothing. You'll end up with diabetes.
I'm down the allotments all the time, digging, things and cutting grass. And
I'm just looking for some.
In the olden days, we would have said you can avoid it by staying fit and staying thin.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Steve.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen's got it, and he used to. Well, are you back running every Saturday?
I'm getting there, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's still cold in here. I'm looking for somewhere to wait, but I needed the break though, guys. I needed the break. There was amazing how many Aberdonians that I met that I knew on the plane coming back. It's quite a few people. I even met the bar owner, Stephen. We were meant to meet up. He says, Peter, I wouldn't have been able to do it. He had a house there for 17 years. And a guy come up and asked him and give him a price. He says, I just couldn't refuse it. He sold his house when he was on holiday. So what are you doing now? He says, I'm going to wait and look for another one, a better one. But he says, I just couldn't refuse the money. I said, what was he, a drug dealer? Was he a Russian or something? And that's what happened, But
you didn't miss much. You didn't miss much on holiday. Not much going on.
No. Have you been watching Nigel Farage in the Jungle?
No, what a waste of time.
I haven't watched I'm a Celebrity for about 4 or 5 years, and Nigel Farage is not a reason to actually start watching it. Have you been watching, Peter?
Well, I've been keeping to date with it. £1.5 million they paid him, ITV, and they were recent. They were going to wait to do a hatchet job on him. Do you know you can do celebrity talks? Because I look like Louis Walsh and things like that. You could say, Peter, here's €100 or £100. Could you give a message to my mum who loves Louis Walsh? And I could sit here and give a message. Okay? 100. Somebody got him to say something, because he was doing that for people as well. A lot of the celebrities do it. Now, what they got him to say was something that he didn't realise what he was saying, right? And they tried to do a hatchet job with the ITV, the people that are paying him, right? What happened is his team said, we need to see that before it's put out, because he can't respond from the jungle. So we're responding as well, let us see the film of it. They refused to do it, no, and they haven't put it up. Okay? Now, the next thing is they're finding that they put him in there basically to make a fool of him, right? But the tables have actually turned. He's getting more people liking him than not liking him. And then the girl that he was having an argument with, the YouTuber, saying you shouldn't be able to say dress up with a Mexican hat and everything. She's left the show. She couldn't take it. She melted in the jungle.
She wasn't the first, though, Peter.
No, and you know that
Grace Dent went first.
I don't know who is
The
she.
cuisine wasn't good enough, apparently.
Sorry?
I said Grace Dent went first. The cuisine wasn't good enough.
Well, she knew she was getting into, but guess what? If they stay 72 hours,
They get paid in full.
They get all their money. Yeah? And how the tide is turning on people. There's a lot happening in this world just now, John, and the tide is turning on a few things. They put him in there to do a hatchet job on him, and I reckon he will end up with more people liking him than don't like him after the scene, because he was handling the French guy had a go on about Brexit, and he certainly handled him as well.
I think they both handled each other quite well, because I did see a little bit of that discussion.
Yeah, and
but he's a Frenchman. He wanted to stay in Europe because he earned his money here.
Correct. Now, is he a British Frenchman?
I don't know the answer to that one.
Okay. Is he a British Frenchman? Is he got remain to leave? I would have said, listen, you're here, you're a French cuisine man, and you're doing a good, you're paying your taxes and everything. That's the way it should be. No, keep getting, it's all the contracts that we've done when I was on holiday coming through. Andy's done a good job. Well done, Andy. Do you know, it was great because it was funny, John, sitting in the hotel and that, not at the sat long. People would ring me about business. I'm in Tenerife, by the way. I says, I've told you, you've got to use the proper channel. services@aberkill.co.uk. Get in touch with Andy, because I've actually cut my phone from everybody now. I don't want calls anymore. Goes to that. But I bought a package that I know when I went there I could phone as much as I want, use data as much. £25 and kept in touch with the business and stuff like that. It was really good. And I could Sheila could hotspot as well off of me. And that worked very, very well, John, And so you were keeping in touch, you were watching what I was up. Did you see the one where my face when I says you couldn't get a scooter, an invalid scooter?
I did see some of it. Been quite busy the last week though, so I haven't spent as much time on Facebook as I might do.
Yeah, I was tired that day. I was absolutely zonked. No, 15k steps, and the heat was good. Yeah.
Where's Stephen gone?
I don't know, but we'll carry on. He's obviously up.
Just carry on. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm coughing and sneezing, and that's not good on live video.
Okay. So first thing this morning, I've just had a beautiful shave. That was I grew it for a couple of days. So, if you want to go to Tenerife, folks, this is what I would say. Maybe learn the bus system, learn the bus routes. We've got an app over there. And if you go to a place called the Decky, which is very popular with the middle-aged people, I would say, and they've even got their own taxi app there, but only for a Decky. Only for a Decky. And you put on the app, it's called Taxi Click, and see, I didn't use it, but seemingly it's very good. I did download my Uber, but it was extortionate, absolutely extortionate. And so Uber sometimes isn't the best that you can get. You know, they put their prices up. And yeah, so, but what they're also doing is they've got people working for them in taxis as well. So if it's fully loaded, they'll use Uber, but you'll get a taxi and they're subcontracting in a way. So that's what's happening in the world.
Well, are you nipping down to Edinburgh today?
You are?
No, you.
No.
It's your last chance at 3:30 today to see the pandas before they go back to China.
Oh, right. Pandas are beautiful. Why are they going back to China?
Well, I say you, Scotland government had a 10-year contract. They've actually stayed 12 years because of the COVID lockdown.
Now, have you kept up to what's happening in Scotland?
No, we haven't. We haven't had. Well, we didn't have a show last week, Peter.
Right. Okay. So, the guy that went to Morocco and had 11,000 bill, right, who's in charge of Scotland's national health, right? He gets ribbed every day. Okay, and he refuses to go.
Well, you can't blame him, really. You know.
Pardon?
Well, why are they making such a fuss?
Because he tried to claim it all as government expenses.
But our understanding in the English newspapers is slightly different. Our understanding is the bill was paid by the Scottish government, not by him, and not reclaim.
No, he put it through as a government expense, right? Then it was looked into, and it was for watching football matches, Celtic football matches.
Yeah, but you know, don't you think enough's been said about it now, and there are bigger things to move on to?
No, it's hypocrisy. Here's why: a government iPad, and you let his kids hotspot it. They shouldn't have never been near it, right? This is the hypocrisy. But the bigger news that's about to come out. Bigger news. Remember when Matt Hancock had an affair during COVID, and everybody was calling for his head to resign? Remember that?
Yes.
Well, seemingly the news at the moment, two very big Scottish politicians were having an ongoing affair during COVID, yet to be named. Two big ones, seemingly.
Like, at the moment, I think the biggest waste of money going on now is the damn bloody COVID inquest. Yeah?
No,
it should have been done in 3 days, and then some decisions made about what we do next time. Not going on and on, spending a fortune, £1 million a day.
I disagree with you, John. We have the right to know exactly what went on behind the scenes. And Matt Hancock is appearing today, and we're followed by Boris, and we're getting the story behind the scenes and actually what happened, blow by blow. And I think the people who lost relatives during the COVID inquiry have the right to know how many mistakes were actually made. And I've got to give credit to Gove, who actually apologized. He's the first politician I've ever heard to apologize for what happened behind the scenes in getting a grip on COVID, and I think he got a few bonus points, in my view, for actually coming clean and saying that they did make many mistakes. Now, it's not that they could have avoided all the mistakes, but we've got a picture of what was happening behind the scenes, which was not edifying. It's basically they were, to a certain extent, a bit like headless chickens, and I wouldn't have liked to have been in their place. That's all I'm saying. But I do feel we have the right to know. The relatives have the right to know exactly what occurred, and whether. And you just rightly say, at the end of the day, we want to have learned a set of lessons about preparedness, about taking decisions. And the only way we can do that is to go through painstakingly what happened during the course of COVID.
The government's chief scientist and the guy in charge of health said that the people who were making the decisions didn't have the, nous is not the right word, but the understanding to actually know what they were being told.
Yeah, and we need to know that.
We know now. Why do we keep going on and on and on and on? I feel very sorry for anybody who lost relatives. Yeah. And we lost some pretty famous people as well. But there has to be a line drawn somewhere.
This is the line.
No, I think the line should have been drawn long ago. The people who we're complaining about ain't there anymore. Yeah.
Peter, you've been quiet. Still quiet. He's still trying to get a cup of coffee. I mean, he's got back over to the UK, and he wants his coffee.
Well, I'll tell you what I missed. I missed Costa over there, but they have got good coffee over there. This thing's not working. That's broke my heart.
It feels unloved. It's been left dormant whilst you've been away.
Just bought it. Right. Oh, the other big news with names we can't mention. It's been mentioned with the royal family. Did you know about this?
What, you mean in this book that somehow in the translation to Dutch managed to include an extra line that isn't in the original book?
How could the name of somebody be translated wrongly?
It's got,
translated wrongly. It says it's been added in.
First of all, yeah, I mean, first of all, Peter, the name's actually got to be there.
Yeah.
In order to translate it, and as John's just hinted, somebody modified the author's copy to put the name in. Publishers, I think the publishers are involved, John.
I think it could be anything, couldn't it? But am I bothered? Because I really don't care. I'm in a don't care mode today. Let's move on.
I understand that, but we can't brush everything under the carpet and just say it's happened, move on. We do need to understand what's actually. I mean, Peter wants to understand what's going on with his coffee machine at the moment. If you're watching his live,
green light now. Instead of flashing red, he's got a green light.
Normal service has been resumed. Peter has a coffee.
That's my back. Yeah, the thing is, everybody is. I'm just fed up with the whole situation with the royalty naming and shaming and things like that. They really need to get it sorted out. You're either part of the royal family or you're not. I don't want to have any public duties.
Well, I agree with Peter here. If you're going to bugger off to California to live, you're not a member of the royal family any longer.
Just like Edward did. He went away with his lady, and that was them for good. But the problem is, it's their children are now royalty. But I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a bit of a problem, but I don't think they're getting to be called prince and whatever. Is that right?
Charles has cut, doesn't matter what your title is, Charles has cut out whether you're working or non-working. And if you're not working, you don't get any money.
Mm-hmm. Do you think in our lifetime royalty will be gone?
I think there'll be an upsurge when William becomes king, because a lot of people like him
Mm-hmm.
and his other half.
He's never put a foot wrong at the moment. And Kate has done well too.
There was a thing on the BBC News about Kate going out with Princess Anne,
Right.
the Princess Royal, and it showed they both got out the car at the same time, but Kate waited until Princess Royal, Princess Anne, was in front of her before she walked away from the car.
Yeah.
But they then said, if she's with her husband, because he's further in line, closer in line, well, he's number one, isn't he, than Anne, they walk in front. In those circumstances, she walks in front of Anne. I'm thinking, well, they're bollocks. Why can't they just walk like normal people?
Do you know who's in charge of it all? The courtiers.
Mhm.
They know what happens. They say, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. You've got to do that. I'll tell you whose book I've been reading. It was such a quick fight. Maxwell, The Downfall. Robert Maxwell. Because I actually went over to the side of Tenerife. He was found in the water.
Mhm.
Bob, did you know? Remember that joke, Bob? Bob. He was found in the water. So I'm not at the end of you, but what a guy he was. Oh, wow. He had a butler called Griggs, young guy, and he got a quick placement because the other one left, and he was the underling, so he got the job. And Maxwell saying, "Do this, do that, do that," and he just stopped and he says to him, "What effing one do you want me to do first?" This is to Maxwell, and Maxwell just looked at him upon a grin. Anyone you want to do first? Okay? He stood up to him as the butler to say, "Listen, I'll do it." But and he met his journalist. He says, "Come back." He says, "We'll have a meal." He says, he ordered up a Chinese takeaway, and he says, "Do you like Chinese?" And he goes, "Yeah." And ordered a meal for 14. And he went and is sitting there. All the food was sitting there from a Chinese takeaway. Because the Chinese takeaway said, "We can't do that, sir, Mr. Maxwell." He says, "You'll bloody well do it. I'll get you shut down." Anyway, he went in, and the journalist guy said, "When's the rest of them coming?" He says, "They're not. This is for me and you." Did you know he even had a padlock on his fridge?
Right. We say hello to Corinda.
Corinda!
Hello, Corinda. And Corinda is asking how we are. How is everyone? Peter. Well, Peter's refreshed. I mean, he's the one who's been on holiday.
Yeah.
And
I need another one. I need another
So,
one.
2 significant US deaths this week.
Yes.
Rosalind Carter.
Yeah.
And this morning, Henry Kissinger died at the age of 100.
100 years old. Wow.
yeah, he was an amazing guy. I mean, I know that everybody's got shades of grey and things they've done right and wrong, but he did many things right.
Yeah.
In terms of solving problems. Very clever guy, and able to relate with people and to bring sides together to actually bring about peace.
Yeah. Now, did you buy any in the Black Friday sale?
I was selling things, Peter, not buying. Did
How
you?
did you get on? No, I was over abroad. I was. Do you know? I once got done by an Indian over in Tenerife, and I said to Sheila, "I'm going to go in and spend an hour in there, pretending that I'm going to buy something, and let me have a look at that. Let me have a look at that, and then go, no, I'll come back when you have more stock." All right. So
I bought a pair of sawhorses, collapsible sawhorses. That's all I've bought. Black Friday, Atomic Monday, or whatever it's called this week.
going
Sorry.
back to Amazon Live, Stephen. Is it still a big thing or what?
It's still a thing. I'm
Right.
still enjoying being there.
Right.
I'm not making as much as I used to, but it's still worthwhile.
What happened? What do you think happened?
Amazon changed the rules.
Did they? What was the rules change?
Well, the rule was that if you showed an item on screen, they
Yeah.
would show your video on the item page,
Yeah.
which brought people over to your broadcast. That
Yeah.
stopped.
Yeah.
So you've got to attract an audience. Let's just go back to Corinda.
Okay.
I'll carry on in a second. But Corinda is saying, how did I make the poster? The poster, which you can't see on Race on Radio, is for Blabbing for Britain. Well, I took a current photograph of me, and then I went back in the archives and found a photograph of Peter and a photograph of John, so that they look young forever. And I used Canva to put it all together.
Yeah.
I've moved on to using Adobe Express for quick things like that. It's free. You just type in Adobe Express into Google and Go, and there's some fantastic stock pictures. There's billions of templates, and you can make any size you want of anything. And it obviously has preset sizes for different social media, etc. A really, really good, easy to use freebie.
Very good.
Adobe Express. Right, just keeping up with Corinda. Corinda says that the war has stopped. Sort of true, Corinda. There is a truce at the moment, but it's not a ceasefire. And any day now, the war could start again. And Israel, or the Prime Minister of Israel, has said the war will continue for at least 2 months. So they're trying to extend the current truce day by day. We've got another day coming up, and prisoners are being released, captives are being released, but it's all going to kick off again. And countries around the world, in the Middle East, and we don't see playing a big part in all this. I'll come back to that in a second. But the war is not over.
No.
Or if we're talking about the same war, that is. And Corinda was on Amazon on Black Friday. Just get through these, Peter. And he's there all the time now. Good. And we're up to date. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We don't seem to be playing any part in the negotiations between Israel and Hamas, do we?
Isn't that
Not
a good
visibly.
thing? Isn't that a good thing that we're not sticking our nose in where it's not wanted?
Well, you're right. You've got one on you today, John.
Yeah, well, I was prepared for a longer show of just you and me, you see. So I got all these ideas written down, which I don't normally do.
Right.
But
Right. Well, it's working well. So continue doing it next week.
but my view is there's that many people sticking their nose in. Let some of the people who are local, who are trying to broker it, sort it out, rather than us thousands of miles away.
Yeah. I mean, I've been keeping an eye on it, and what disgusts me is the propaganda going out. It has the hostages, and they're making them shake hands and everything with them when they're getting handed over. But the woman says, "Here's why we've done it." She says, "Do you want to die or do you want to be traded? So you'll do as we say, right? We see through you. We see through your handshakes and your smiles and your touching your hands. We see through you. We're not fools, And an absolute disgrace that if they were handing over the hostages, there should be no cameras, no films. Hand them over and use that as your goodwill and not use it for an opportunity. Why did you have guns and face masks and everything? Stand there and be men.
The disgrace from where I'm sat, and John's probably got notes on this, is that the war is going to continue, and it's a very uneven battle. And I don't believe that at the end of the day they will solve the problem. Even if they were to destroy Hamas, then years down the road there would be another group. The problem is the fact that Gaza is controlled by Israel, and you do need somewhere down the road, Peter and John, you need a two-state solution.
Well, they tried 6 times to get a 2 states, and keep going back to this. And have you seen? Well, another thing I seen was the amount of people running down the road free of Hamas. Some of those Palestinians will be glad that they've got getting rid of Hamas. Their lives been ruled by them for ages, you know. But someone else will probably take them off. That's what happened in where was it, Jordan, where they had the two factions fighting each other for a long time. Within the, I can't remember which one it was now. No, the same people fighting each other to get control.
Lebanon?
And I'll tell you something else. All those people living in Qatar with their billions and everything, they will be forever looking over their shoulder like that. Because one day, Mossad is going to hit them. Guaranteed. In the billionaires' paradises, while the people have to live in poverty because they took all the money and had a great lifestyle. Have you ever seen that once where they basically told the old woman to shut up? This is all Hamas is doing. This is one of the Palestinians. No, shut up, don't say any more.
I'm not saying there are any rights in this, Peter. There's just too many wrongs.
Sorry?
There are too many wrongs. Piers Morgan, we don't talk about Piers. Well, Peter talks about Piers Morgan. John and I don't. And we're in disagreement.
We don't do talk to we don't do LBC. What else don't we do?
DB.
Well, I listened to them all, and see, Piers Morgan has named him last night, right? He says, now, let's get the debate going, right? They've named him. This is the people that are meant to have said the racist comments. Let's get it out in the open. Let's get it done once and for all.
Well, we don't know what you're talking about because we don't indulge in these flights of fantasy.
Yes. Right. And then else happened when I've been away.
Don't know, but the sun's just come out down here.
Do you know, my room's still not heated up yet.
Grey day in Devices.
Yeah.
Well, it was very grey until the last 5 minutes here as well, Stephen. So maybe it'll work its way down there.
Well, that's me back to singing mode now. I'm very busy over Christmas. Lots of gigs to do. Get out of the way.
So, COP28. Lots of people have said that the Arabs wanted to use it as a platform to sell oil.
Yeah.
I mean, we're continually being told to go green and save energy. And my view is simple. And until India and China start doing the same, we're little England. We're 1% of the world. Whatever we do makes us feel good, but has. I was going to say something different then. Elon Musk must be in the air somewhere. I was going to swear, but I won't do that.
I did it for her. I used the B word.
I was using an S word, an S something D word.
Yeah.
And until China and India are actually involved, I think we're just making ourselves feel good and not making an. I say it a northern phrase. We're not making an ape of the difference.
No.
Yeah.
There's even talk of what did I learn about? They can't get the cars, EV cars sold just now at a discount because people know the problems it's causing. You know, they can't get them sold.
So, have you seen the Rowan Atkinson document that was published in the Sunday Times?
No, I haven't. No.
Well, you better have a quick search for it because it's a well-written article from a man who knows what he's doing because he's got 2 degrees and engineering types and control, and he basically saying they're not good enough and we're not ready.
No, we're not ready for them. No, we're not ready.
And he says he's got he's had 2 electric cars, one of which was a hybrid that he's not got any longer.
Yeah, that tells you something, doesn't it? You know, they've even got police cars in the city, and they can't keep up with the crooks.
I've been watching the Met on iPlayer, which is watching 2 actual investigations, and it's amazing that the detectives are regularly using Nissan Leafs to get around because of the low cost in London compared with sitting in, and the total lack of pollution.
Yeah,
that's quite interesting to see them used in a practical way. But of course, they're not even doing 50 miles a day, are they?
Yeah.
So range rage, or whatever they call it, or rage worry, isn't a circumstance in that.
Do you know what's happening in Dublin just now? You do know about the Algerian man stabbing kids and a teacher. Please tell me you know about that.
No.
Wow.
We know that there's been riots and things, but
there's been riots over there because of this. And
we heard about the original incident, and then we heard about the riot the day.
That same man, right, a few years back, was ordered to be deported. Okay? And for some reason, they managed to keep him here. Okay? And he became an Irish citizen. And every time something happens, it's always done to mental health. Stabbed children, one of them critical, teacher critical, and that's why the riots began. And it's absolute disgrace what's going on. And the people turned on the police and things like that, and there's been battles, but the shops are also raided by the immigrants.
The question I've got, Peter, it's been labelled right-wing inspired, and I can't see for the life of me where that comes from.
No, it's women and children inspired, because the mothers went out in the streets and their prams and everything. If you don't believe in something in Ireland at the moment, and it goes against what the authority says, it's right-wing, that's what they're saying. And I've watched many even the Sinn Féin councillors are getting it in the net just now, right? So, all these people that fought for a free Ireland, a united Ireland, they're turning on them. They're turning on the Sinn Féin councillors, and it's a Sinn Féin woman that's in charge, and she's out to get extra protection and everything. Listen, there was a civil war there before, and you mark my words, don't be surprised if there's another civil war in Dublin.
Well, what wouldn't surprise me, Peter, is that in our lifetimes there will be a united Ireland.
Well, I don't know, to be honest with you. They can see what's happening there. What surprised me is a lot of people, Catholics, don't want a united Ireland in reality, because all of a sudden it changes. They're part of Europe. They've got no free health care. Things would change for them. And be careful what you wish for. But I'll tell you, Dublin at the moment is in a mess, But you've got to go and search what's happening, because you will know. There's a thing called Gript, G-R-I-P-T, in a watch, and it's ex-IRA, man. And they're calling out the country. Don't be surprised, and I really mean that, if there's not either civil disobedience or a civil war of some type very shortly. And Bernard Manning once made a joke about, you think you've got problems with the Catholics, Protestants, wait until they drop X in. And boy, he was right, and it was a joke.
Right, over to Corinda for the last time today. I think they should have banned guns and bombs and everything. We have a new visitor, one you mentioned earlier, John.
All right. Hiya, Mr. Silk. Just quickly on the Dublin stabbings, it's quite interesting. The riots were caused because it was believed an immigrant had stabbed. What it also turns out is that it was an immigrant that stopped the man that was doing stabbings.
But the other story to that, right? Let me tell you about this. There's been a GoFundMe page made up for the Irishman. An Irishman stopped it first. Then the guy, the Brazilian, right, came and helped and hit him with his motorbike number. There's been no mention of the first guy, but they used the narrative about the Brazilian, the immigrant to the country. So this says this man needs to be known. And they've set up a GoFundMe page to buy him a drink, and it's into thousands now. I bet you didn't know that, John, did you?
Right, we've got to.
I can only tell you what I've read. And like you say, it mentions Mr. Benicio.
Yeah.
It doesn't mention anything about an Irishman at all.
I'll look it up and send you it because they've cut him out. He was the first one to stop it. Right.
We have a message from the fourth Beatle, Mr. Stephen Silk, who was part of Blabbing for Britain for many years. Great to see him. And he's saying, fab to see you all. Best wishes for your 400th next week. Thank you, Stephen. And I'm going to say a little later than normal. Thank you to everybody on Royston Radio. John, it's over to you.
All right. So it's goodbye from him up there in the frozen north.
Yeah.
It's goodbye from Stephen in the grey southwest.
Yeah.
And it's a clear sky here in the Midlands. So don't forget, next week, same time, same place, for episode 400. Bye.
Be there or be square.
Bye.